the ad bill taken care of?
I did.
So good.
Thank you.
Okay.
But just to make sure, now we're gonna get some more.
That's right, we have to figure out the schedule.
That one's okay.
You get out, you get a DD 214.
DD 214.
And that has all the information of where you's at and when you got out and all that stuff.
Honorable discharge.
All the medals that you won, all that.
Did you raise my
What's that?
Yeah, really.
I can.
last meeting?
I thought they were right.
That'd be good. You can do them again today if you want, that'd be fine. They didn't have much to talk about last time. Thank you. You want a copy of them? Give me one of them.
Folks, we're on
Give me a couple of them for
video.
these guys.
Don't say anything you wouldn't want the world to hear.
That's everything.
Surprise.
Yes. Give it another minute or two.
Thank you. I love to tell you, but I know you like that, when I see him.
Thank you.
Anita didn't say, but she was just saying that she went back home. Anita, she didn't say.
Anita was here something about advisory.
Oh, she was checking the date.
She had, I think she had a leave.
Is she coming here?
You read them? Are you here? Oh, it's no surprise to you then.
No, I wasn't here.
What,
I
Aaron?
was in Boston.
Read them, very interesting. I wasn't here either. I've been busy.
All right, I think we can, will the broadband committee please come to order?
Okay.
Please have a look at the minutes. Thanks to Bobby, thank you very much. Now that everyone's attention is concentrated, I remind you that we are videotaping this meeting, as we try to do so on all meetings, for later broadcast to the World Wide Web. Alright. Meetings get quite a few hits, you'd be surprised. Any comments on the minutes? Ken?
Good job on the minutes.
Minutes are excellent, okay. And then we will accept the minutes as presented. Are we expecting Marcel or anyone else from about project control? Of course, we really do have someone from.
And you will have Marcel Corbin also here. He's in the turnpike.
I got you.
I just left a little bit earlier than he did.
How many of you actually read the little fireball? Oh, we have Reagan Anderson here
Hello.
from the provider to be. Welcome.
Thank you.
How many read the little fireball of questions I sent out? Yes, Leo read it. I hope you all read it, because you were all on distribution. This issue that I brought up is concern that we signed a contract 4 months ago. And I guess I should remind you, my nickname at work was Dr. Doom. I always assume the worst case scenario. And unfortunately, my assumptions are often gratified. Unfortunately. This is a big project, and I understand you're also working Cypress Lakes,
Cypress, yes.
which is right down the street, and I would think these could be synergistic. I have a contract with about project control. It says I'm gonna get Gantt charts and progress reports. And I will say, I have to be honest, Marcel writes somewhat long and rambling reports. It's interesting. I can turn those reports actually into articles for the reporter, and will do so. But this is new for us. Laying in a new fiber network is new for us. We've done cable here for years, but not since we abandoned the master antenna, probably 30 years ago. Have we been involved in this, and there's no one in here who I found with a corporate memory sufficient. We need to understand the data points that have to be met and how long things are going to take. Because I'll tell you something, when Comcast pulls a plug, if we don't have product on the air, I will be hiding in Honduras because things will get difficult. We're already fielding questions by some folks who assume even worse scenarios than I at delegate assembly. Well, who's gonna pay when Atlantic Broadband doesn't meet the deadline? It's a good question, but I really hope that that's not on the table. All right? So having said that, let's hear from Leo and
So
Reagan.
I know that, let's see, this is here. This is just a big picture timeline. You are going to get Gantt charts, you are going to get reports on a regular basis. We will have meetings where you're gonna be brought up to speed. But to reassure you, first of all, we did a deal with Atlantic Broadband at Sunrise Phase 3, where they made a commitment.
Where?
Sunrise Phase 3, it's half the size of your community, which is not quite, well, you have one. The size of Century Village, but they will make it, they will make the commitment. Good, sorry. Calling my sister.
Tell her hi.
Thank you. Oh, you're fine there. So we are here to, they also had a little thing called a hurricane that they were very, very busy with. So in spite of all that, they had no problems meeting the deadline, Sunrise Lakes Phase 3, and we intend that we'll have no issue whatsoever meeting the deadlines, but you're, obviously need to know and be reassured of these things. So you wanna go over, again, this is big picture stuff, this is just beginning to end, there's not,
Now that Marcel is here,
yes,
I'll put my other little question on the table.
sure.
Are you guys being given sufficient access to the process by Atlantic Broadband to produce meaningful reports?
We were not up until this morning. So your fire, that you lit in them, and in the defense, and I'll let Reagan actually address that. Okay, something else.
Just a sample.
First of all, they hire a great construction manager. I happen to know him for 30 years. And you'll meet him, by the way. You know, Reagan and I talked this morning about how he's gonna rotate the CEO of the company, the chief operating officer. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. He's in town next week, so if some of you wanna meet him, he can be available to reassure you that they have all the resources, have people in place today. Charlie has been in the industry for 40 years. I know him for about 30. He has done cable systems all over the world, including in Russia. So if you can work in Russia and get things done, yes. So I'm very, very confident of him. I've seen the contractors they've hired. So I'm very, very confident. However, we need to convey that to you.
This guy is laying broadband cable in Russia?
He has been.
He was.
What's his name?
Charlie Roberts. You'll meet him.
He's
You'll
from
meet him.
Alabama.
I would love to talk to him.
He's from Alabama.
Roy's cousin.
But he's been around the world laying this up. So,
That's my brother.
Reagan, why don't you,
My brother's name is Charlie.
I'm another mother.
good old Charlie. But it's not just Charlie, it's a team, that they have, they're serious about this thing, they're not, there's a lot of things in the pipeline, including, you just confirmed this morning that you're moving your head end out of Miami Beach into basically a compound in Miami.
If you're familiar with the Miami Data Vault downtown, it's
You've
the
been there.
highest level, 53 feet above sea level. It's, an old Southwestern Bell building, all concrete.
Bunker command post.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And
Yeah.
so we've leased space there now, and we're in that process.
By the time you were
By
activated.
the time we launch, we'll have, that's where our
Coming out
head
of
end
there.
will be located out of
Who
one
went
of
that
head
trip?
end.
That's at Northeast
Ed,
Fourth
Ed,
Street.
you went on that trip, didn't you?
Yeah, I think
Who
you're
else?
right.
Anyone else in
I
here?
worked in that dude.
Oh, okay, it was a long time ago.
So you've been in that building.
Least-
So, yeah, there's been a few challenges from the standpoint of what I need to get so I can, communicate with Marcel on a more regular basis. But as I put this in front of Dave, who's gonna be here next week, you met him, Dave, he's gonna be down here next week, so, let me know if you want him to stop in, we'll swing in, and we can stop. I know it's not a board meeting time.
Point of my question was simple,
Okay,
laying out a lot of money
yes,
to pay for this effort. You can't tell them, gee, well, you can't have access,
no,
It-
we'll
it's
provide the
almost
information.
They
direct.
weren't quite ready to do this, but now again, this is a global, view of the project,
Okay,
very high, 30,000.
Yeah,
Low level.
let me punch through some points here, I guess.
you got another one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I owe Marcel, the design, which our ETA on the final on that now is 11/20, so we're looking at maybe 10 days or so. Marcel, I'll send you this as well. This is just like a verbal, written Word doc. I'll send you this. And then you've got our copy.
Yeah, and I'll generate, I have a template for a timeline that Leo has in front of him as a sample. And it's gonna have, start dates, stop dates, and Gantt charts with what's been accomplished, what is scheduled, and compared to today's date. Any day I run it.
The first 6 months for us, which
One of
is
many.
really the business development side, we do our cars, which is the, construction approval request, you fill out all that paperwork, you get the money allocated for the project. You start your permitting process, we have done all of that, let me get to the permits. West Palm Beach, our city registration's in process still, that one's still a little slow for us. But the Palm Beach County is done and approved. Haverhill, we're investigating whether or not we need anything for that, if anything's required. If it is, we'll be submitting, for that. We are pushing design, like I said, we should have that in the next 11/20 is the ETA date on that. Finish date on that is 12/1. We want that finalized. Permits, we will be done by January 5th. They're all in process right now, but we see January 5th as probably before that, but that's the very latest. Kickoff meetings with Century Village, we have those scheduled between 12/18 and 12/22. We'd like to, that's the time.
Let's drill down on that because
Yeah.
that's the first time that the community, will see you guys make a presentation of that. So can
Yeah.
you talk, and they obviously need to approve those dates as well to make sure that it works for them. So you wanna drill down on that specifically, please?
Yeah, we'll be reviewing the schedule and the contractors that will be on site with you. We'll talk through that and you'll get to meet all of them. Common areas, we gotta go through all of that and talk through where do you want, your common areas. We know we talked about the pools and we know we're gonna do some Wi-Fi, but what else is there? We wanna get that.
And where's Cam?
You know, she
Was
here. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going or wait?
No, come on.
Okay. The channel insertion, we wanna coordinate that with you. I know, you've already have that. I think we added for another one if you wanted it. That has to get, talked about. The retail location, the front counter, we wanna talk about, starting that process. More with probably Donald, to get working on where you think you'd like us to be so we can get, that timeline built and get that model started.
What's your deadline for that?
For the front counter location,
When do you need a list of all the locations for drops?
Now,
Yeah,
because they need to be
yep.
incorporated into the design.
I wanna talk with, I was gonna ask Donald for, do we have an address list? If we can get, do you have something like that? That we can get, okay, if you can send us that, then, you know, that helps us just to identify every single unit, you know, go through the build side. And then the parking lot space discussion for the synagogue, all that happens there as well. We don't think it's no big trucks, anything like that, more of just fiber and everything else. So we'll probably still go over and talk to, you know, our friend, the fellow with the goats, and see if he'll, you know, if we can give him something so that he's happy that,
Oh, yeah, give them a
hey, you know, we don't want any issues.
Mr. Gerber.
Gerber, yeah. So we'll, you know,
Well, but let's talk about the common areas, because they're critical, because we need to put them on the design. In terms of, certainly this building, obviously, for is one.
Yeah.
We need a list of everything else, including your gates, because we own fiber to those gates. So we need to drill down on that, specifically, and we need to give it to them to put on the, on
You
the
know,
first
some
revision of the design, yeah.
some interesting items were thrown out. Maybe some of us will remember. To really give it some good thought where we want fiber strung. Someone mentioned we should string it past all the streetlights. I'd really like to hear more about this. I don't know if it's realistic after midnight to cut the illumination in half. I don't even know if you can do things like that under code.
You can with LED.
I would like, and I'd like to know what FPL would think about connecting their streetlights to our fiber, or any other brilliant ideas you have that might help us decide where to pull fiber.
FPL has LED in their long-term plan. They have not deployed it yet. No, Leo,
Well, this
when
is
he
the
mentioned
time,
that originally,
we
it
need
was
to do it
private
now,
lighting.
so
No, I understand.
we need to set up a meeting.
I would hate to
With-
tell you what Michael Corey told me when I asked him about converting these lights to LED. Wants $1,000 a pole. It's very difficult for me. I had to bite my tongue.
I did that at the other Century Village,
Right,
and I did 348 poles.
right.
Did it for under $150 each. It was a retrofit.
That's better.
He's your man.
And Seacrest did the labor.
We would love to.
Has to be phenomenal,
We
right?
would love to hear
It
about
was 13 months.
this plan. You know, I would hate to suggest that they're pulling a lot of money out of here, $14,000 a month for security lighting. They should do this conversion for nothing because it saves electricity in
Of
spades,
course,
right?
of course. However, you have to understand that they're lighting up the streets with excess power from the generating plant, because in the off hours when you need that light,
Yes,
that's the slack time for the generators. So they need load.
alright,
So, you know, that's an internal management issue with FPL. Nonetheless, they're still saving. So if these are FPL lights, you gotta wait for them.
we would love to work with you on this. We have a lady right here who's very familiar with.
She just raised her hands to volunteer.
And Louise Warner, who also, I believe, worked in the FBL Communications Center. She knows something about this, but we would really like to hear about this. Yeah, all right.
So let's do it, but let's not even at the table, let's act on that.
What do you need from us now?
Okay, we need is a list of everywhere that you would like to have fiber now. So obviously the very minimum here, the clubhouse, the
pools are gonna have Wi-Fi,
Yeah,
but
but they're
that's not dark fiber, but
certainly your gates. We want to be able to have a tie-in between here and the clubhouse, you know, for
All
your,
right, I got 3 people.
you're doing a lot of driving
Assigned.
over there, you
Hold
used to.
hold on, Leo, I got
Yes.
3 people assigned with good technical skills.
Great,
Along with Donald, also with security, Bob Rivera, Roy Roberts, Ken Graff.
so we need to have a meeting as soon as possible
Exactly.
with the group. And
Exactly.
we need to know,
I kind of understand the comms, but I don't understand all these neat ideas here about where we should
Well, the
put
other thing that-
fiber other than the obvious places.
Well, the other thing, again, it's a little bit early, but, don't forget about 5G in small cell
Oh,
deployment,
yes.
which it literally could be done on the pole itself as well. But so that's a big thing out there, so
You wanna put an antenna on the FPL pole?
maybe, I don't know if they.
100 square inches. You got one that small?
Yeah.
Wind loading.
Philips has developed something that basically the actual light has a Wi-Fi in it. I don't know that FPNL is deploying that, I don't know anything about, so, but we need to have those discussions now.
Okay.
What about your irrigation control? 'Cause that might be something you want to automate and put in your network.
It kind of, I wouldn't use the word automate. They run on clocks.
Mhm.
There's a clock on every pump.
What you gonna tell us
Talking
different
about a centralized control capability.
Yep, that's what we did at the other
How would
central
the
village.
pump,
Seems like
what
rain
would we have
sensors
to
and
attach to the pump to
control
make
and
that work?
Right now, the pump has a
Some
contactor.
subcommittees.
You just need to network that contactor.
So then you basically have one room where they can turn around and say, okay, we're gonna irrigate this area right
You
now.
don't need a room, you don't need a room, it's just a screen like what's behind you.
software.
It's all
There's
software.
one out there
It's all
that's
sensors and
pretty
software.
high-end
I showed
meter. Oh, you saw Toby?
I saw that Toby.
Okay. It's on the internet, big deal. I mean, is that the sort of thing we have to do?
No, this would be more than that, it might be some software that you would invest in.
They rebuild me.
Okay.
Bring it forward.
Okay, the other thing that's really interesting with that is who pays the electric bills on those irrigation pumps?
I do.
Okay, so if you pay the electric bills, you can go to time of use billing instead of G1, which is a commercial account. Run them during the night, during the hours that South Florida Water Management doesn't want you to use the water, and when you get the best rate from FPNL. At Century Village, I dropped the pump prices down from $1,500 a month to $200.
Well, we do run the pumps between 11 to 8 in the morning, 11 at night to 8 in the morning.
No,
So
they're
there's
gonna
nothing
have to run.
stopping anyone from turning it on.
They're gonna have to run before 8 AM. It depends whether, winter and summer, you have 7 months of summer, 5 months of winter, and they schedule switches at that time.
So that's consistent with code. They don't want us running pumps when the sun is up. They want us to run them at night.
And they have a billing program to comply with that. It's called time of use billing.
Look, so this is a time to think about all these things.
And you can
also-
network all this.
Right. You also don't actually have to,
Who manages
What's the-
security on stuff like this?
there you go.
Who manages the security?
The
Security
security of
of
the
what?
software,
Yeah, on the system, if you're networked, you're open to
that's
to
part of
hacking.
what your IT person, company,
No,
You
you're
know,
talking
well, there's
about
firewall,
hacking the
there's, you know.
irrigation
Yes.
system. Yeah, of course.
Or anything that's on a network.
You have it password protected,
Yeah, of course.
and you would run
It's
encryption.
part of your IT function person, company,
I got
whoever,
you.
yeah.
Alright.
So the idea is to have what's possible, and you don't have to spend money now to do things that you haven't budgeted for, or you don't see an immediate payback that can get approved. But it's a lot cheaper to do it now, if they happen to be nearby to run fiber, we need to tell them now, so this committee has to meet.
Also, remember at the other Century Village, we had 3 pump stations, 50 horsepower each. Here, you're much less sophisticated than that.
Yes.
Excuse
Yes,
me, which
I-
Century
But much more complicated.
Which Century?
Deerfield.
Deerfield,
I mean, we have an offer on the table to upgrade irrigation from bottom to top for $8 million. Give me a break.
You probably get it done for
$8
seven.
million.
That's what they spent $7 million.
Yeah,
Seven.
of course, same guy probably. Alright,
It was
Well, anyway, we don't have to get drilled down into those projects, but we do need to have to put that fiber in now, because they're not gonna come back and do it for us,
Is there a
yeah, the
max-
dark fiber side, we wanna get that kind
Yeah.
of mapped out and
We
built
need to
in
get
with
that done.
CCI. the common areas are just, I just need a list of this location, what do I need for services in those areas? Tick, 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 pools or Wi-Fi and maybe video outside or something if you're gonna have TVs there.
When I prepared that list for you, I
We
did
can
not
even-
include guard stations, but that was about it. I had every laundry,
Okay,
I had all the buildings, and it was much more than what you had anticipated.
Alright, here's a question.
well, then we'll probably have to cut it back.
Can I just make one
Here's a
small?
question, and maybe you know, maybe you have to research. I got a bunch of emergency phones at the pools.
16.
I was 16.
This is not a requirement, but we have them. So we put them in, and now we have a commitment. Somebody drops on the deck of a heart attack, 911, right, click. And they're not cheap, those phones. We're essentially paying what you and I might pay if we put a phone in our house. Are these candidates for VoIP telephones?
Yes.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yes.
There was just a question I was gonna ask. I'm not sure what your design looks like yet, but if it's kind of standard, it's gonna be ringed and where your control points are. So the common areas would have to have at least a 2-level prioritization, because in general, there's places where a spur off your ring is gonna be fine. You know, so what if it goes down? You get the guy out and fix it in a couple days.
Okay,
We're not gonna die over it. However,
on those,
anything carrying critical services has to have rings, and the electronics have to be backed up, and the standard stuff.
Mhm.
But not everything has to be that way,
We
because it's much less expensive if you know ahead of time.
Right.
In your design criteria, what on the list that they're gonna give you of locations, what's a critical and a non-critical, so you could just do spurs off your rings and your electronics can be minimal.
okay.
I mean, I'm just
No,
I'm just
you're
saying
thinking it through correctly, yeah.
your criteria you have to have criteria on every location, A, B, C criteria.
Correct, prioritize.
Cause your
With
design,
prioritization under.
it'll be very cost effective with your design.
That's
Except
critical.
that he's talking
Because
about, we would have to
when they
put that at the
design
top
it's
level.
their
Say, okay,
system,
those phone lines have to
They're
be.
looking out for themselves like they should. So we need to
We
make
should
them
be
aware.
looking out for us.
Alright, are we gonna have code problems with life safety communications on the internet? We've been told in the past that we had to maintain POTS lines for fire,
On your
Okay.
underlying carrier.
Yes.
If your underlying is 100% redundant and no single point of failure, and your uptime meets ISA standards of, 4 nines or 3 nines, you'll pass any code restriction out there.
She's correct.
I've certified to them. So.
Now, we have, in this building, you mentioned this building, we have business class, high-speed internet in here. We're running probably 200 megabit down, maybe 20 up. Can we have a drop in here, because that's gonna save us a lot of money.
You're gonna go a lot faster than that.
Yeah, we can give you a
Oh,
gig.
yeah, it has
A
to be very.
gig for
Give
this
us a
building.
gig in here.
Yep. As we say in the business, that's complimentary.
I've entered the promised land, okay.
You got that on a
Ken?
list at a gig? What's a gig in here? That place is gonna be
You
250 or.
wanna work with Donald? Let's really think
Well, we
about
also would love to meet
where these
with,
drops need to be.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
we also love to meet with, who's your IT contractor? Who does that?
Contractor,
Yeah, or you just in-house, IT,
our
all the servers.
Our IT support here is an independent, Steve Hen, Coastal IT.
We need to meet with him,
Sure,
because,
of
yeah,
course.
he may have some ideas for you in terms of what you need, and this
He
is,
always does,
well, this is a time to ride the coattail,
yeah.
ride the light, the fiber.
Now, this contractor does all your desktop maintenance
Everything.
and your
Servers
cabling
right
or
here.
and your data, or does he do more?
We need to meet with him.
He'll do anything that relates to our computer system, including stumbling on some ransomware out in the guard shack, which he's trying to fix now. But he's pretty good.
Great, so as soon as we can meet, in fact, if that can be part of the meeting,
What's his name?
Steve
Steve Hen.
N, Henn. Coastal IT Solutions.
Postal IT Solutions. So send us his contact, but let's invite him to the meeting that we're gonna have hopefully this week or next,
Fine.
sooner the better.
John,
I just wanna know one thing about the clubhouse. Are we?
you wanna put the Super Bowl up there, don't you?
No, I wanna put those people out of the clubhouse.
You wanna get rid of DSL Express.
DSL Express.
Okay.
Oh,
think there has to
absolutely.
be a
Well, I was
meeting.
gonna ask about the clubhouse in terms of,
I think there has to be a meeting with Levy or somebody there to say, hey,
Well, we pay the bill.
we pay the bill, we want these people gone.
Okay, the answer is
it's a
yes,
third
but
party.
we're gonna have to be prepared to step up.
Yeah.
And handle the various, the Wi-Fi up there stinks.
That sucks.
It's no big
Excuse
deal,
my language,
It's terrible.
but yeah,
It's gotten better.
sure we can. We
it's
control
gotten
our
better
budget.
since Ken,
Yeah, I complained enough that it did get better, but it goes up and down.
we took Eva around, Ken and I took Eva all over the building, finally she submitted to Ken's putting extra cones places, but it's still messed up up
I
there.
remember we went up there years ago and we could never get more than 300 kilobit downstream.
He had to go outside to get on the internet one time.
I don't doubt it. It stinks.
And so I think that's a priority to get rid of DSL Express.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be for a while, right? So.
You gotta wait till they're
No,
done.
I understand that, but you wanna put that on the table, but
You definitely have to
There's
put it
no
on the table.
There's no.
This is the
ifs, ands,
idea
or
of this
buts.
meeting, is to put everything on the table as to what's possible. They may come back to us and say, yeah, we're not running fiber all the way over there, but maybe not if we, we'll tell them now. We gotta tell them now.
Barbara,
And that's for Wi-Fi there then?
yes, they have Wi-Fi, they have they have a data center, they have a few computers up there.
telephones.
Yeah, telephones, absolutely. Lot of money to be saved because we're spending through the nose up there. I'm not gonna, Barbara,
Mr. Coleman, you were saying that you took care of Deerfield, am I correct?
I was the executive
Except-
director there.
Okay. By any chance, would you know who is their IT person down there?
Yes.
Who is it?
That's it. I gotta look it up. It's in my,
Okay,
it's in my
that's not
contact
fine.
list.
So while he looks that
I
up,
thought, I
My
thought,
second
I
question.
thought Jake Russell's was down there.
I
I-
don't
by the
know,
way-
he's in Boca.
By the
Okay.
way, prior to going to Century Village, I was facilities project manager at Univision Network.
Univision, okay.
And they have two contractors that they use. One was for video, one was for data. The data guy, all he did was pull Ethernet cables everywhere, extremely competitive in price, better than anyone I've ever
It'll be
seen.
nice if we can get their names when you have a chance. My second question, David, was, I know that Reagan just said 11:20 would be when you would be able to give the design to Mr. Foreman.
CCI?
Okay, because without that design, Mr. Foreman's hands are tied, he can't give a timeline or milestones or anything. So it's very important that.
Yeah,
we
no,
work
it's
very
critical.
closely.
The
without
design
that.
will help split it up, but
I know.
the milestones have to come from them.
yeah,
Well,
it
That
has.
will, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
will the milestones also come, will they come around the same time, Reagan?
Well, he has.
Yeah, I
it
pretty
global
much
here.
have 'em on
Global.
that
There's-
sheet
there's-
where
I
we're-
see it here,
yeah,
I
I'm
hear
just
you.
asking to double check,
Yeah,
cause you gave a date now, and I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
we
no,
will
you know.
start then, we're even gonna look at something that Leo has, that's an app where the guys can come on, do what they did that day, they submit it, and that app then processes and
phone.
uploads, and then it can go to Marcel right away, and he can look at daily stuff.
Last question
But we'll
is,
submit monthly.
David's has a group of people here, Ken, Roy, and Bob, and I don't know if Joanne's involved with it, that really should be included in every meeting that you have. There are people
Done.
who are watching you and Mr. Corman.
Okay,
So we'd like them involved, I think, in every meeting.
Sure.
sure.
We'll
Yeah,
make
no,
it
there
happen.
will be monthly meetings here.
No, not monthly, anything you have.
Oh, no,
They'll
constantly,
call
yeah,
them. He has their email and Ken and them will come.
Okay.
great.
Call us and we'll come.
And
And even if you don't
On our
call us,
beck and
we'll
call.
come.
No, but what I'm saying is there will also be a regularly scheduled meeting once a month here that you'll be there, you'll participate, but it doesn't mean that,
No, I meant the IT people that David has selected.
We'll
And Don will
have,
be there as a cam, but he's not an IT person. These people are IT people and they should be in on whatever you're planning to do.
All right,
Okay, done.
hold on. We will have our our monthly meetings like we're having today. But
we're gonna have a separate meeting that we're
Day to day.
yes.
these three guys and maybe one or two more who will volunteer shortly will also be involved. A small group though, right? Like an interface, a liaison.
I've got the name of the guy that did Univision,
Yes.
George Alvarez, he's with ASE Inc. for telecom and data.
Alvarez.
Yep.
And he's with who?
ASE Telecom,
They're a big firm.
very competitive.
Phone number?
I have everything.
Go ahead.
His main number is 305-471-9888. His email is, I don't have his email. I have his mobile number, 786-586-3722.
Okay.
All right, Ken.
That's good.
Reagan, I have a question
Thank you.
about the kickoff meetings with Century Village. What is that, what do you do at the kickoff meetings?
Well, Yeah, well, like I said, we're sort of talking about, again, we're gonna introduce all of our contractors that are, we're gonna talk through the schedule again. We're gonna talk through the common areas, what we're connecting, how that's gonna work. The channel insertions, the front counter, everything basically that we're gonna do on premises, we're gonna start to talk about with you guys at that point to say, here's our guys, here's our timelines. It'll talk through kind of the construction timeline. We see that as January 8th as a start and ending in November. We see ourselves testing for a couple weeks after that. Then we go
Starting
into
installs in January.
the installs are basically, we wanna start 1/7, January
19.
1 of 7. Now, again, we know that you still have a payment so you're not gonna be paying us, we're just gonna be installing in one, cause it's gonna take us a number of months to install, so they'll get our services and you'll just,
January 1 of 7, you'd have to
Of 18.
get into a time machine.
of 19, sorry,
Okay,
That's a little
cause we're
different.
coming up on 18.
okay, gotcha. Marcia,
Yeah, I'd like to know when your contract with Cypress Lake starts.
It starts July of 18,
Okay, thank you.
19, no?
18 for them,
Okay.
19 here.
why can't these
It's the other-
be worked essentially synergistically?
Well, in some ways they will. I mean, we'll be working on yours while that's going on. There'll be a different, crew. Yeah.
John,
When are we gonna start education?
okay, good question. 2 points. There was a good deal of talk about a voice-controlled TiVo. We would obviously be interested in where you are on that. But sometime well in advance of installation, because if we learned anything from the Comcast evolution, that 50-button remote killed people. We were running classes in here for over a year. Don't assume that our people are just going to adapt to that. We would like to do training in here.
Okay, so this is all of those things are going to get done. And there'll be deadline timelines and all that. We also will speak with them about putting a video together, or taking it from TV or somebody. It's regular communications in the newspaper. So there's a lot behind this. This is a global, we're starting here, we're ending over there. In between, there's a lot of information, a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion. So continue to participate, and continue to ask about those things, but all of that is coming. There will be a detailed launch program in terms of what to expect in your home once, they
Now,
get there. There's different phases to it as well.
we would probably not anticipate tying your people up, except for maybe a few at the beginning. What we did with Comcast, we trained some people, our people, who then
Train the
carried
trainer.
on the classes. Right?
Well, yeah, we're gonna launch brand ambassadors, and we don't have a problem training
Yeah.
additional
So,
ones in the sense of that.
By the way, yeah, that's what we were talking about, you and I, that each of their departments, we're talking about Bev, is that
Yeah, Bev's the launch coordinator.
the launch coordinator, the marketing person, the customer service, the general manager, CEO of the company, on a regular basis, we'll be rotating them through these meetings.
Eisenberg,
Yeah,
He would have been here today, but he had to be up in Canada for the Cogeco board meeting. Otherwise, he's coming down next week. Like I said, he said, I'd be happy to swing in. But you guys won't have this meeting,
be glad to
unfortunately.
see him.
We'll make the next one.
Barbara,
The voice control
Mhm.
remote,
Yes.
that only comes with a certain package, am I correct?
It comes with the TiVo box.
In other words, if you take the TiVo package,
Yes.
you will get voice activated, like I have
Yes.
platform one with
Yeah, the
Comcast.
X1, yes. Yeah.
So it comes with it, you know what I
Correct.
mean? But the voice activated will not come to everybody who just gets TV. They
right.
will get a regular remote, am I correct?
Yes.
That's
I
not
just
part-
wanna clarify that right now.
That's not part of the bulk.
No,
No, we didn't bulk the TiVo. We bulked the TiVo in that customized package we built for you where if you've got internet, we gave you the TiVo, we took out your old box or the HD box DVR and put in the TiVo
Right.
DVR. And then you got the voice remote
Voice
with it.
remote.
what would be the downside of not taking that package?
no,
Look,
I would definitely take it,
But it's
David.
not
But
part of
there are many people, there are many people
Who don't
that
have
to
internet.
be, don't have internet, that's
Right,
number
yeah,
one.
okay.
And two, people have to be educated
Yes.
that is the best way to go. And unless you educate them, they're not gonna realize it until afterwards. So I think we have to get that program on board.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We'll train on both remotes then. One being i.e. the standard, and the other one being, okay, if anyone's moving into the TiVo, here's that training.
John,
Just to go back to what we're saying, Thanksgiving is really the kickoff for the season. We should start having about 14,000 people here, and they'll be here for about 6 months.
Right.
So I really think the education should start as ASAP, not January, February, or March, but like in December. Or January. Because you got 14,000 people, time they come back, the next time, it's gonna be here.
no, I got you.
If you don't start now,
I'm
it's
just
gonna be,
thinking about
all these people gonna be lined up,
train
excuse the
people
terminology
now.
of the word.
This
There's
is
where I'm
something-
going. I think a year from now, they're.
What are they gonna remember
Well, I
a
don't
year and a half from now?
I think you
I mean,
should do it in
we're
the
happy to
season
start
next
it
year.
right away, like I said, maybe before we launch in January, we're talking
No, and also,
November or something, we say, okay, we're gonna start training and this is coming at you in a month or so.
No.
Yeah.
not only
You
that,
have to do a phased rollout.
Yeah, and that's
Start
when we-
You just
introducing-
like
you
stole
do
my
a
thunder.
phased rollout, you don't just, here's your training package, go away.
And we do it by,
It has to be a
I
brand
hope you pay her a lot of
awareness,
money.
Yeah.
She's worth it.
we're doing it by building, like
Why
we
don't
do,
you show
we're doing
it?
Sunrise Lakes phase.
just keep bringing it out.
So there's 5
so
different
that-
inks, and each
by-
ink has its week, and we're moving through that, and we're scheduling and coordinating, and they can come in for training. We don't block anybody out, meaning if you were from another ink and you wanted to come in, so you could, but we try to, coordinate it by ink, by week, by.
Does your rollout take into consideration the seasonality here?
Yes.
Oh, good, okay, cause that's obviously gonna be really
So I was just going to echo what you just said, this is not gonna be launched, there are gonna be installs here and here and here and here. It's gonna be in phases, whatever, we agree upon with them, and all that, so we really are going to invite, this section of this overall section, that it's gonna be phase 1, I'm making it something to be second.
It's probably more than
But
one
assuming this is
phase
section
there.
1, yeah, basically, you invite these folks that are at Plymouth and Sheffield, right, that are here. Smaller groups, you don't wanna have 1,000 people in there because then nobody wants anything. So, and they'll be invited to a presentation where they're, be told what to expect, what to do, what are your questions, what can we, take the fear away, and then schedule as well.
And
And
then,
then, go on.
Leo, there's one more point. They come in and they install, right, and they give a presentation.
Yeah.
And then right behind that, we coordinate a second meeting with the brand ambassadors. They come back in like 2 days behind you and say, okay, what else can I help you? Your iPad's not working. So that's what we found was, the Sunrise, it helps a lot. Give them 2 days to kind of play with it. They get all their, hey, I can't figure out the button, something. And we come in behind them and we train again with the brand ambassadors and go, let me talk you through the process.
You're gonna want some very patient people.
That's why I said, we'd be happy to, train some of the, locals that say,
Yeah.
yeah, I've learned it well, and I know that person, and I can work with them real well.
You can't just go into a unit and drop a box. Because
Shake hands and walk out now.
95% of our people wouldn't even know how to hook up to the internet on their own. That's a big deal.
That is a big one.
You gave me a pretty box. I can't get online.
Too bad it's not. I'd say
And
you
they'll be
can't
lined
jump
up
on.
out here, 10 deep.
So think about it. That piece is big. Stuart.
Will there be some printed literature that goes with that, with guidelines? Here is your remote, and this is, number one is such and such, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because even if you take a class, they're gonna walk out, you're gonna overload them with knowledge, so they have to have something to refer back to.
Absolutely.
And that would be very, very
Are you
important.
using standard collateral?
All right, hold on, guys,
For
one
that
at a
stuff?
time.
Do you have a standard collateral that you're
Yes.
using?
Yes.
Is there any wiggle room with that?
Well, the only thing we're looking at is like, a few things for you guys was the bigger, bold, bigger print, channel
Well, I was
lineups,
gonna say,
things like that.
before you go to production with that, can we have people here approve any change? I that's wonderful.
Yeah,
But I think, have
yeah,
somebody.
the things that we're gonna customize for you guys, sure, we can have that.
Just have somebody here appointed
The
to
other thing
say-
that we do is,
let's-
like,
let's
you're
show it
familiar with
around.
the community channel through Dimitri, we launch one of our own and then we'll load it into your network, and what we do is we let that thing always be playing stuff about our videos and different things, so people can sit and watch that and, okay, here's how the remote works, we have some really great different YouTubes and things that are almost like a commercial that they can just sit there and watch over and over. They're all different. One running the remote, this is how you record, this is, there's probably, I think, 12 of those different videos that are all like 4 to 5 minutes long. So you're talking about an hour of just continuous looping, different information. It'll come around that you can say, oh, here's the remote one again. I want to watch that again.
That's important because a lot of the people here are visually oriented.
Yeah.
And sometimes the manual creates difficulty for them to comprehend what they're reading. But if you see it displayed on a screen and it's over and over in a constant loop, eventually they're going to get
They're
it.
gonna get it.
A couple more things. One is that they will have a presence in this community, so they will have customer service as in the contract as well.
Yeah, 12,
So
the
you-
whole year of brand ambassadors, they call us, we'll come out in our golf cart and go, go see them.
Exactly.
We gotta rent a
And
few of
number
those.
2, tell them about your call center in Connecticut.
Yeah, we've just launched that, now it's been about almost a year. We have about 12 properties in it. You guys are one of them, that we've contracted with. It is currently answering the call in 17 seconds. There is no IVR, so you have nothing to push.
No
You're gonna
computer.
go right into it. We limit how many customers and things that can go in it. Our goal is to keep that answer time, regardless of how many are calling in, at under 2 minutes. So, you guys are getting kind of the carte blanche, if you will, of, we call it the concierge call center. We're only loading so many customers into it. We think that, the certain clientele doesn't need to go to an IVR and push one, and do you want it, and,
How many
You
agents,
can't-
how many
Talking-
agents right
hold
now?
on.
we have 25 right now?
25, how many properties?
Talking about
7?
clientele.
7?
Are you gonna have multilingual,
Hold on, guys.
multilingual responses? I mean, because we do have people there that do not speak English.
Yeah, the only thing we're working on is the French Canadian side.
Okay,
We have the Spanish all locked out.
okay.
We even have Russian, because we have a number of people that speak Russian.
Yes, we have more and more Russian expats here in the village. Second highest number of hits on my blog come from the Ukraine.
I did not know that.
Incredible.
We have a lot up in Sunny Isles and stuff
Thousands of
properties.
people from the Ukraine. Now, Bob,
I got a question about whenever you have a television set, all right, for instance, I recently bought a Vizio, and my girlfriend has a Vizio, and it just so happens that they did some kind of an update, and now both our TVs are flashing on and off, right? Telling us we need a new remote, and that they will send us a free remote. However, you still got the same problem with the flashing on the television. I called up our Comcast, and they have no clue. I called up Vizio, and they have no clue. And apparently, it's some kind of an upgrade that the engineers from either one didn't talk to each other, and it's causing a lot of grief. I'm ready to go out and buy another television.
You were on our
Pissed.
technology subcommittee.
No, yeah.
Wait,
You need to revert to the
Does
previous
anybody else
version
have a Vizio?
of the firmware for
Do you
that
have the same
TV.
problem?
I've had it for years. For years I've had it, and.
No,
and
no,
they-
hold on.
you know,
You two have different Vizios. You've got a smart TV that's
well,
internet
right, right.
I got two smart
conversant.
Mhm.
I got
You
two
got a-
smart
you got an
TVs. One
old
has a- One has a
TV.
tablet.
Yeah, you're,
Yeah.
you're
Let's
gonna have to
continue
get
with
to
the
someone
problem
at
here.
Vizio who knows what they gave.
Unless you got a grandkid.
Look,
Oh, yeah.
I bought this television set.
Under 5
Best
years
Buy,
old.
in their
Can
open
we,
box.
can we get back to installing our system here? We'll fix your TVs later.
Well, he raised a
Marcel.
problem. He's not the only one with
Thi-
smart
this-
TVs that are internet connected.
So the difference is gonna be, you're gonna have somebody here.
The engineers is what I'm concerned with. Are we gonna have the engineers that are gonna be talking to
Well, not
the
from,
people, the manufacturers or whatever, so that this does not happen?
not from
In
Vizio.
our world, you know, we're TiVo's largest customer. We even had the ability to bring TiVo president down here for this meeting because of the size and the number of customers it would bring for us and for them. So yeah, we work pretty much hand in hand. Dave was out in California last week and he was at TiVo. We're working on some other new things functionality that we're not ready to release yet that's coming out, but when it comes out, of course, per our contract, we have to, put that right in front of you.
All right.
I think you won't have that issue from the standpoint of left and
Someone,
right hand not talking.
someone like Bob or Leo has to find out what desk at Vizio can answer this question. You know what I'm saying?
Might have to
Or
fly to
Marcel,
China.
maybe, if you can
I
get
was
it on,
just there.
figure
You
out
need
how
to
to
go
put it back on the other.
Yeah, all you need to do is revert back to the previous version of firmware that you got with it. It might be on a CD that you got with the TV.
Somebody knows about this, Marcel. He's not the only one in the country in the world having this problem, right? All right, where are we?
Back to business,
Yes.
I got two questions. First one is, I know Mr. Israel really is interested in the location of the data center where the fiber is gonna come. It's not gonna be dark fiber because it's all Atlantic broadband fiber.
Okay,
Where is that? It's somewhere east of here.
Yeah, I don't have the physical address, but I can
It
get
sounds
that.
like Haverhill, because,
It's one of the
Haverhill is
data
right
vaults.
here.
We've
Huh?
got 2 data vaults here that,
oh, prior to that? Well, the fiber net is in the Napa of the Americas,
No,
right? What do you-
they got their own data center.
yeah,
Oh,
we have-
their data center?
We have fiber at a data center, it just says, we're finalizing agreement at the data center, so I don't have that, but I can get that for you.
all right, but you don't anticipate this site being on campus.
On here, no,
No.
no, it's,
Outside.
we've got fiber running
Does
up
a
and it
lot
connects
more.
at a data center and then onto another, we have Equinox and, Boca, we have one here, one there, all the way up to just right where Jupiter is.
Visions of having to build a comms vault here.
Well, there will be,
There'll be a head end.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, we need to hear about that.
Where are the broadcast feeds coming from?
Broadcast fees?
yeah, they will be coming from
With
the,
a D.
Feeds,
yeah,
oh.
the Miami data
The
vault.
data vault?
Well, we'll have a head end in Boca.
Okay.
But originally, your satellite dishes will be at the Miami
Yeah,
data vault.
we have all that there.
Yeah, correct.
You're gonna have a head end on site here?
No.
You're not? Okay.
I think that's being fed out of Boca.
Wait a minute, I just heard the head end was gonna be
Yeah, well-
here.
No, Boca, he said.
I just confirmed it's not. It's gonna be Boca.
I think it's Boca.
So you don't anticipate any control center here on campus?
not one main one, no. But there will be a whole bunch of vaults there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have, you
A
know,
lot of cabinets.
exactly right.
Of course.
Same as you'd have today.
Divide the 8,700
A
into
question.
256, that's all
During
you can have.
construction, Reagan, I imagine people are gonna walk up to your people, some of them may be challenged communicating. Other contractors have used a simple Q&A card that they hand to the person or can answer questions directly. Is that something you people have already? And if not, I recommend you put one together. It's a postcard size.
That says what?
When is it gonna be ready? Is it,
No,
why are you
we
digging?
need to talk about that because I think that, with all respect, you have a low-level construction person out in the field, you don't want them answering any question because
Yeah,
they don't know.
I hate it when my texts drop,
Yeah,
cause
no,
they'll
no.
say, oh, I think this is gonna,
They,
no,
they, they could have a
that's
car
not
that says
gonna
1-800 something,
Exactly.
that no problem, sure.
Um,
But in terms of,
I assure you, you will have people running out, make sure they're in some kind of badge or uniform.
we will, that's fine.
Asking questions.
Give them a 1-800 number.
And they have to have a quick response or they won't get
They
the
won't,
work.
they won't, we can't expect that of them.
No.
Well, I mean,
but
we
a
can,
handout.
they can have a
Yeah,
date or
they
something.
can have a 1-800,
The date, or you can call this number or something, we can do that.
yes,
More of like a business
Yeah.
card or something, call that number.
Yeah.
You know, that we're just, here doing the work and they can give you updates.
Barbara,
When you start, this is going down the road with the individual associations, if you have to run wire, the associations, the buildings.
Okay.
Will you be giving how much notice to that building before doing the work? Because a lot of people
Alright.
have to have notice.
Yeah, you'll have months before that, we'll coordinate what
For
buildings.
individual, that's what I
Yeah,
wanna
yeah,
know.
we'll share that information here, saying, this is when these buildings are gonna, this is this building, these buildings in January
Yeah,
1st to the 15th, these are from,
so they know that somebody has to do
Yeah.
it.
We're gonna be giving you, based on the schedule, dates where you have to be on the lookout. You're not going to have open trenches and areas that are a hazard for you to walk on. A lot of their work is gonna be underground, you're not gonna even see it.
I just meant notification to the people when they have to go into the
To the
units, and I
unit. Yeah,
guarantee
oh, that's very
They'll
detailed,
they'll be
is it?
going into a lot of units.
That's gonna be very detailed.
That wire's been there a
There's-
long time.
That's gonna be the challenge here.
I know,
And you're gonna need a lot of cooperation, and
That's what I
you're gonna
mean.
have to have a person dedicated to just scheduling these people to
that's
come
what I
in.
mean, cause that's so important.
There's no reason why, we have the paper here once a month, there's no reason why we can't publish more than once a month if we have to. If we have to get that information out to the different buildings, we can certainly do that on the blog, we can do it on the channel 63, and we can do it we don't have to have it. We can publish a paper more than once a month, I mean, we only got about 5 people,
We can do a
but that's
special one just on,
retirement.
construction updates and we'd
No,
pay for it.
I'm talking about a fact sheet.
Yeah.
A fact sheet,
Right.
okay? You can put that out like almost on a weekly basis. If you you work with us, you have the agency to do it with
Yeah.
us, and we can get that out. I mean, if
You're
we
right.
have to, distribute it, that's something that, it's a communication.
So all these
method,
things
too.
will be discussed with the specific managers in the organization.
Just give us the information, we'll make sure we get it
You're gonna
out,
have the
okay?
construction managers, the technical managers, the marketing manager, the launch manager, you mentioned her name, Bev, I think.
Yeah.
So there will be, these folks are gonna start rotating through here every month and basically seeking your input.
it's important, Leo, that we have goals and timelines.
That's definitely the plan,
Make
and what's
sure
gonna happen.
that we have a path to success. That doesn't terminate on the last day.
No, this is why you hire this gentleman here.
You'll love what I'm gonna be giving
Alright,
you. I've shown it to Don before,
alright.
and it's interactive.
I'd like something that we can publish.
It's hard to publish because it's in color.
We can publish in color. Everything up to date, Kansas City. Believe it or not, there are some extremely bright retired people out there
I know it.
and who have done this kind of work. They're not in a big hurry to volunteer, but they may come in with something to help us out. Absolutely.
And I got a call from the, what's his name? I think his name's Mark, one of the French Canadians, so I'm gonna come in, I guess, and do
Barrier.
a presentation. Right after January, he wants one, and he's gonna, I guess, interpret my English to French and
Oh, great.
so we're gonna do that for, he said he thought
Or was it
between,
Mark Ward,
let me pull up his name.
H-U-A-R-D? Cause he's done that for us before. Barbara,
Just one question on that, right? I think that's great, you're gonna do that in January for the French, but I would suggest, David, that you do a general one for the rest of the people before the French.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure, happy
Because
to.
otherwise you might have a few people annoyed.
Yeah, we just have to coordinate, like I said, a room, and then we'll cover like food and whatever, drinks and stuff and that. But he was asking about rooms, and
Refreshments will be served, always works.
that's exactly it, people show up.
Ken,
The computer club has meetings twice a month, so we can host you at
Yeah, at any
whatever
time.
meeting you want.
Yeah, let me know when and I'll show up.
John,
We have more Spanish people in here than French, so I'm just letting you know.
I still would need a translator, cause my Spanish is pretty limited.
You got one,
I'll
right?
take Leo.
You're gonna play that, you're gonna play the language game. You
Yeah,
gotta play
yeah,
the
you gotta play it
language
all.
yeah, I got you.
Ukraine, don't forget the folks from Ukraine.
We could bring a girl that, our office speaks Russian, so if we got a lot of that, we can do that.
I'm not saying
Most
there are,
Europeans-
there are more Russian expats than you might imagine.
That's right.
But you're correct, it is Mark, Huard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you met him?
Yeah, I met him once, one of the meetings a while back when I think it was a computer club meeting I went to a while back, and I met him there,
Yeah.
so,
He's a good guy.
okay.
Anything else?
So when can we meet for the group that is going to be?
Roy? Bob? Ken?
So you wanna do it right after this meeting?
You know?
Yes, then we should have one meeting and then market some global things and schedule another meeting.
What do you got?
As soon as they clear out of this room.
Can I make a flyer out of this?
Can you make a flyer?
Yeah.
Sure.
Just wanna know before I put it on.
Because the
Okay,
dates are good.
I'll cut it in half, blow it up.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it needs
Okay, and I'll copy it.
logo, header,
I'll copy it from your blog.
the date.
Yes. Soon.
Yeah. Just putting a little bit of here and there.
We're talking about DBPR class, yes.
There and Haverhill.
All right, one at a time, Donald.
For sale.
I think I heard you discuss when I was out of the room, I'm not
I
sure.
don't know what they want for
We were talking about an event for Super Bowl
Between
weekend, some kind of
Cyprus
awareness
and
event.
us.
Market.
Sorry.
Start over,
plans?
start
Right at
over,
the tops,
start over.
the corner.
I'm sorry, we were talking about a marketing or an awareness event at the clubhouse, maybe Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
Do we do anything with this?
Yeah, I've sent it to the marketing team, they're already starting to develop plans after you and I talked at the trade show. Yeah, so we're definitely gonna be involved, wanna sponsor and put together some, again,
Great.
refreshments, food,
I'm just looking for a partner.
some prizes, that type of stuff, yeah, absolutely.
Would be good to see one or two of your trucks in the village. Barbara,
If you're going to do it on Super Bowl Sunday, is that when you're gonna do it?
Well, that's up to you guys
No,
from
what
that
I'm
standpoint.
saying is you
Yeah.
should check with Eva, because they run a Super Bowl party on Super Bowl Sunday.
Maybe we can just be a sponsor
Right,
and
there already is an event in place,
Okay.
so.
That's what
we
I'm
could
saying.
sponsor and give away some prizes or something and,
You get up a nudge.
yeah.
But it only holds the back room of the party room, because that's where the one TV is.
Right.
You know, they were thinking of getting another TV for the front room, so we could have more people there. You're limited to half the amount that can go into that room.
You can bring in another TV,
We can talk to Eva, and there's more than one room.
we
Okay,
can work on it.
yeah, we can do,
Bring
like I
bring
said,
an extra TV.
Right,
but-
Barb
That's
will
what
let
I'm
you use his
talking
food,
about.
drinks,
problem.
some prizes and stuff.
TV? Yeah.
Minor.
You gotta see it.
We'll get the Vizio and Marcel can fix that
Wait a
for us.
second, we can take my TV there, I'd be more than happy because football this year is
What's the
doing the
deadline?
same thing to me.
Joanne, what's the deadline?
I don't care. I'm watching.
All
Okay.
right,
I'm not
folks,
watching.
Some
nobody's gonna
it's
be
electric,
heard,
electric
we all
company
talk at once.
selling out, so you might wanna
John,
look at it.
David's right about the trucks.
isn't that the quote that
That
closed,
says-
I mean, we're.
Broadband on it.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
You need to get some of them in here.
Oh,
People
getting them.
continually say it's
The
20,
20th.
doesn't matter if they listen, they need to drive around and let people
Get a
know they're
cardboard
around.
truck and just stick it somewhere.
All right, my impression is, Leo, Reagan, you have anything else for us? This meeting's kind of deteriorating.
No, we begin our work now, and which is a lot. So those that are staying,
When would you like to meet with our little group?
Well, you say one more now?
I would like to include this lady in that.
yes.
There's a class. There's a class starting in a half hour.
No, you're talking
I have a
about
little
the
bit to do
BBPR
right after
course.
this meeting,
Right,
but
so-
I can stay, I mean,
Well, we
You
can
wanna set
schedule
up
something
another
for
date,
next week, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ken?
Yeah, let's do next week, cause then Dave's here. And he can bring him in and he can
Okay.
participate.
That would work out better.
Great.
Uh,
oh wow, nothing for next week, shoot.
Thursday, Friday.
That meeting take
Takes
long.
long, gets you here through Friday.
The one
Monday,
next
he's here
week,
till
I don't
Thursday.
know if I'm available.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday's out
it
at
Yeah.
Sunrise.
But I know I can
Tuesday after, you and I connect with them.
They'll have
And Wednesday,
somebody that's willing to take minutes.
Okay, if they
a week
want.
from today works.
Alright, Ken,
Yeah.
make sure you coordinate with Rhoda. If you want this room,
Yeah, what time?
see if there's something else
If you want-
on the schedule.
I mean, at 10 o'clock, if we have the room available, 10 o'clock a week from today.
10 o'clock, okay.
If they, if they don't have this room available, they could use the room that we have up at the clubhouse.
Sure.
Usually clubhouse.
You can use that room.
Just let us know where.
Use the reporter room up at the
I'm just gonna
clubhouse
block
if you
it
need
out.
to.
You let me know if I gotta
Right.
move it time.
That's the 15th.
Alright,
I'm
15th, yeah.
I'm looking
I
at
was the third employee when they spun off.
they're decidedly check with Ken.
Well, the reason was prior
Folks,
to that,
Oh,
I was
unless we have some other questions, I would entertain
and
a
I had,
motion.
and I had some.
I'll make that motion.
Wait.
I was.
I would like everyone to listen to me, please.
yes,
This is Century Village, West Palm Beach.
yes.
We have our own culture, we have our own machetes that we use on one another. I would advise this group
Thanks, Sam,
that
for
we
leading.
should give Century Village, West Palm Beach, a progress report next, Yuko reporter.
Exactly. The deadline,
So know that we're not sleeping while we're in. there.
Reagan, your deadline is the 20th of December. That's when I have to have the copy in. I can stretch it a little bit further if you've given me some advance. So for instance, on the Super Bowl party, all of those things. Actually,
I think there are one or two little sub-meetings going on already, so I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
You got it?
Without objection, we are adjourned. Leo, Reagan, thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Marcel?
You'll be seeing a lot of all of us.
10 o'clock?
Yeah.
Joy.
Your last assignment.
I got a whole.
Your last assignment.
Last assignment,
It's on the 15th, right?
So they can reduce the number of trucks in the village.
Joy was the 20th?
yeah.
I've got a background that goes back.
No, 20th is fine, I just put in to send you an update by the 20th.
From stepper switches in digital. The 1984 Olympics was the first time fiber optics was privately deployed in.
Oh, I do.
Heard about the.
They
had
no program. 13 venues
this-
for the Olympics in 1984.
TV, I bought is no.
That's all I
So I
got.
started on, what's the broadband.
We got set up.
Vizio
Vizio sent me.
They actually did some type of radio sign. And then KYW going over all that.
So I had.
There, they put
That's
that's how we have to do it.
I think
just like you to keep in the back of your mind, to keep
We'll be
the
talking a lot more.
educational instruction down to the lowest denominator because of the kinds of people that we have here. That their attention span is somewhat limited.
And
stay on the
telephone.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's getting shoddy as we go along, it needs replaced. Ed say, what's the latest?
Go to the main thing, hit that, and then come back down to the volume and work that
Where'd Ken
separately
go?
from that. And, and every time Frank would call Vizio, told me they'd say,
Thank you, Eddie. Good job. I said, I don't know what the status is. Corner access. What they got there? 3 acres.
Take it in, put it in the name of the person.
Leo,
Yes.
it's gonna be 11 o'clock.